Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome along to this week's Sofamanager Scottish Football Podcast. And on this week's show, we've got a bit of a relationship special. This week we're going to talk about the Rangers' awkward rejection and their Mean Girls' response to Aberdeen Football Club and Derek McInnes. Also, if you're needing some interesting Xmas gift ideas for your spouse, we've got some ideas for you, however serious or humorous they may be. So stay tuned for that, that's for sure. And we've got all our usual features as well, talking about the Scottish Premiership, Championship, and the usual news and features. So joining myself, one of your hosts, Paul Menzies, this week is the loser of the Menzies Brothers Instagram competition this week. It's Minnow of Instagram, Andrew Menzies. Hello, Andrew.
Hello.
How badly did you lose this week, Andrew?
No, all about quality, not quantity. It was a moral victory.
It's a moral victory, very salty. A huge thank you, by the way, everybody. We tallied it up this week on Instagram for the best 9. Over 15,000 links on the Instagram page this year, so we're nearly filling Easter Road. Although I'm pretty sure 15,000 is the same amount of people that were there for the packed game at Celtic this weekend.
Yes.
Despite the fact it being full, inverted commas there. And also we have our very own ranting and roving fantasy board member. It is John Brown.
I'm back.
Editor-in-chief of Sofamanager.com. It's good to see you, John.
Indeed.
So yeah, let's crack on. So, as I flip my papers, to the news this week. One of our first stories of our hometown hero club, Falkirk Football Club, who this week were brandished at the very front. Sadly, good old Jackie Bird got to name and shame us.
Hey.
As they're not paying their minimum wage. As it turns out, one of a few clubs in Scotland, I think, was it Motherwell were in amongst it as well, or some...
Yeah,
there was a few other
Morton
teams
as well. Motherwell and Morton, who were infinitely more than what we were.
Right.
In terms of payment deficit.
But kick us when we're down, Falkirk were the ones that they picked on. So, not a great week, and yeah, very strange scenario. It seems to have been one player. I think the club statement stated.
The rumour was it was a certain player who's now playing for Rotherham, without naming any names.
Alright, Will Vaulks.
I
couldn't possibly comment.
Now who?
Exactly.
Yeah, he was on some funny contract when he started at Falkirk, so putting two together, that's what you get.
If 4 was the minimum wage at the time.
First it was just 1.
So, no, that wasn't a great start to the week, I don't think.
No, it's a curious one though, because it does go back to 2013. Why is such a big story now if the club is fair and proper at the moment? It was rectified at the time. There's no story.
Yeah, I think they just like to name and shame and just make sure those practices are up to standard.
I know, it's a joke, but apparently there's more clubs going to be announced sort of later on as they kind of work their way through this. So,
well, at least you weren't paying your club through the loans. Anyway, also this week, with the recent injury to Motherwell starlet Louis Moult, it looks like he could have played his last game for Motherwell.
Nah, he'll be back in January.
You think he'll be back in January?
They won't sell him.
What calibre of club, first and foremost, do you think would come? Because I'm thinking like an English Championship club would maybe be his best.
Probably. No one in Scotland could come and get him. Unless Aberdeen move in.
Celtic could. But they don't need him.
Celtic could be the one. Go from Aberdeen would be the logical one up here.
But Aberdeen went for him in the summer and didn't make it happen. So
Rangers maybe, but it depends on who the new manager. Maybe.
We'll get to that, don't worry. We'll get to that.
If they get a new manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. English Championship, mid-table. Looking at Sheffield Wednesday, that kind of ilk.
I remember this time last year, it was Crystal Palace of the Premier League that were coming in for him, which was like, what? That is insane. But now you're kind of thinking,
mid-table championships are realistic.
Premiership top scorer, much like the Irishman Boyce was last season.
Yep.
Down at Burton, I think he's relatively in the team. I know a few
not great, but yeah, that's that kind of.
I know a few of the Scottish boys are struggling. I know that Stevie Mallon isn't really getting in the team.
The Barnsley, he was
something like that, and even Liam Lindsay, I think, is struggling to get in the team. But Peter Pollitt, formerly of Aberdeen, got a goal for MK Dons.
Aye, Conor McGrandles is there.
Josh McGuinness got a goal at the weekend.
Own goal.
Aye, sadly. And Jayden Stockley's hit like 6 and 2 for Exeter City.
Well, that's Exeter.
In League 2?
I think so, yeah. But he scored a lot of goals, and there was an absolutely bonkers FA Cup game against like Notts County or something like that, with ended like 4-4. It was on telly. So not a few kind of ex-Premiership players down south. If they were to sell him on, Wrexham are due for quite a hefty sell-on fee, and some former board members, I believe 2, are set to receive some loan payments back.
Loan payments back?
Yes.
I thought you meant they had a stake in the player.
No.
We were talking about this earlier.
So I believe if they were to sell him, it would have to be, by the sounds of things, you'd have to get like 6 figures to really make any decent amount of money off of him, which they're not really going to get.
Well, there you go. So why would you sell him in January?
Well, then you get nothing at all.
But we have to kind of cost benefit it. If they sell him, where do they finish in the league? If they keep him, where do they finish in the league?
Well, but they already got to a cup final,
But if they finish, say, 4th or 5th in the league, top 6, you know, that's a fair wedge of money. Is it more or less than, say, 150 grand that they would probably get for him all?
Nah, I don't know. I guess it's totally up to them, and if the right offer
came in,
comes
yeah,
in,
maybe.
I mean, I don't think there's too many Championship clubs flush with cash for a Scottish player that's untested down there.
Have to be a significant amount of money for them to sell him now, in my opinion.
It's unlikely, I think, to be Rangers because of the manager situation. You know, there's no one going to come in there and say, "I want him."
There's always a director of football that could potentially do these kind of things, but he seems to be anonymous.
Exactly. We'll come to him later as well. Another more positive kind of signing news: Martin Boyle signs a 3-year deal.
That positive?
Well, you don't see 3-year deals floated about in Scotland that much.
No.
I know clubs like Aberdeen recently have been putting them on the long-term deals, which I think is a sign of ambition for clubs. And he's a relatively good player. I don't think he's the standout house player. He's been playing well recently.
He's alright. He just runs in a straight line and
you get a lot of success with that in Scottish football as long as you're going towards the goal. But my question was, would John McGinn, do you think, sign a similar sort of deal?
No, he'll go down south
again.
But with a release fee, maybe.
I think he would.
Would he? Did he not already been down south?
John McGinn, no, he came.
Did he go from St Mirren to Hibs? I don't think he did.
He went somewhere down south, came back up quite quickly.
So he maybe didn't pan out. So
that's an earlier point in his career. I think he's young enough to go back down and try it again.
I think he'll do a Scott Allen. Go down for the second time when he went to Rotherham and get punted back to Dundee.
He didn't get pumped back to Dundee. He went via Celtic.
Yeah, but he went to Celtic and then he went to, was it Rotherham?
It was Hibernian and he came back from Scotland.
Celtic bought
him, loaned him out.
No, he went to Hibs for a year. Then Celtic got him from Hibs.
Yep.
It was a contract agreement, wasn't it?
That was £1 million or something.
Was that?
It's a stupid amount of money.
I don't think it was.
I think he just did that to people off Rangers though.
I thought he was out of contract.
No, they paid money.
Well,
I'm sure.
By the by, but I think there's an opportunity, with McGinn, perhaps for a Rangers or a Celtic. I don't really see space for him at Celtic.
Not at the moment.
Do I think he's the type of player Rangers would be interested in? I've not heard any links.
They should be, though.
Well, they should be interested in everyone, going frankly. So we'll wait and see there. Hibs are doing rather well at the moment. Also, hot water bottle passed around the bench at the London Stadium. West Ham at the weekend. Meanwhile, on BBC Alba, brave Airdrieonians and Wraith Rovers in -7 degrees Celsius and short sleeves.
Hardy souls.
Exactly, hardy souls. And I know John Motson, I think, said on the commentary, you wouldn't have seen this back in such and such a day. So they're a bunch of big wussies, aren't they?
I don't know, keeps yourself warm.
What? I think if you're a fan, fair dues, but if you're a player, come on. You've got all these hats and gloves and everything already. You don't need anything else. You know what I think?
It's like Willie Miller's portable heater.
You've ruined one of my bloody Christmas gifts. Of course, on Sports Sound, talking about the Willie Warmer, I believe it was affectionately. Soon to come to stores, of course, branded Willie Warmers by Willie Miller. Keeping himself warm on the terrace while he's doing his punditry, which I thought was quite good to hear. I guess, speaking of the chilly weather, credit to all the ground staff across Scotland that managed to put on some football at the weekend, especially those people with grass pitches.
Hell of a challenge.
I know they had fire pits and things out at Stirling Albion trying to
nice. That's how you get
to warm up the game, like between two pallets, and then it was just like on top. So warming the kind of below the grass there.
Where was health and safety?
it's a bit ropey, but if you don't... But I noticed at the Hibs game on Sunday, like there was a patch in the middle of the park that looked good, and then the rest of it was kind of frosty. I was like, is that the extent of their under-pitch heating, just that kind of central zone?
It didn't look very good playing-wise.
I think if it wasn't Sky...
Well, that would have been postponed.
Aye.
And if it hadn't been Celtic, it would have been postponed.
Aye. Which was very, very interesting. But speaking of postponements, I was supposed to be at Stirling Albion at the weekend, got postponed. Anyone who was going to Inverness for Falkirk, it got postponed. I don't imagine so. My question would be, what do you do instead? If your football game's been postponed, what do you do? What's your activity of choice?
Back to bed.
Back to bed. Oh, you don't actively seek out more football?
Well, I've done it once or twice, but generally speaking, if your game's postponed, most other games will be postponed that you would want to go and see.
Well, we did think about... being of the Falkirk area, going to Stennismuir. For a bit of a change, they're playing Annan Athletic. They got beat 3-1. So not so bad that we decided not to go. And then, went on the website, see the ticket prices, and it was like category A, B and C for a League 2 game. Like, how do you have different categories?
It's just stupid.
Like, big game this weekend. Cowden Beath are on their way in. Oh.
Local derby.
What would be the local derby? Well, it was Stirling, wouldn't it?
Stirling, aye. Even Alloa, no, League 1.
But that was £13, to go to the Stennismuir game in League 2.
Quite expensive.
It's not that different from going to see, Falkirk in the Championship, which I think would be what...
Probably more entertaining.
No, if they get beat 3-1.
Well, it was the last 10 minutes, though. They played well for 80. And then, did you not see it?
It was 0-0 for 80, though.
Yeah, but it was Stennismuir went 1-0 up, and then the Annan boys got a hat-trick.
Well, Colin McMenamin, I think, got the goal for Stennismuir. And I feel he's been there for 10 years.
He was playing for Falkirk back when we were playing at Oakview.
Aye, so very, very long term. But it must be so hard for these, if they're having to charge that to make any money out of a game, you're just having to squeeze that small attendance for...
It's really quite bizarre, because if you're a student, you go to Falkirk for £12 for a game.
I think if you're a student, you could go to Stennismuir for like 8.
Oh. £4 difference for a league in between.
I know. Well, there might be a league in between. I don't know if the quality's any different at the moment.
There's a league in between at the moment.
Exactly. But sadly not, and I know that East Stirlingshire were away as well, so there was no even opportunity for a Lowland League match either. A bit of a shame. So it was back to good old Soccer Saturday and Sports Sound to hear the dulcet tones of Richard Gordon talking about the Willie Warmers and such. Chick Young not getting a word in edgeways.
Getting a word in edgeways.
Well, he seems to be very much the whipping boy of that sort of show there. So no, but I guess we won't postpone any longer. The big news of this week. I'm now trying to think of an anticlimactic story that's just totally disappeared from my head. It is, of course, the Rangers management saga. Rangers at the school disco. It's about that time of year. Finally worked up the courage, sidled up alongside their gal, asked her to dance, and after a brief moment she said no. We've all been there, lads. We've all been there. Holly Stevenson across the hall in Primary 7, I've been there. I didn't release a statement afterwards, but we've all been there. So, what are the thoughts on the Derek McInnes management saga, which I'm sure all our listeners are pretty familiar with by now?
Oh, I'm sure. So I won't go over the well-trodden ground.
No,
it's a bit of a shambles from all parties, to be honest.
Yes, I mean it's shocked pundits and journalists across the country. To be honest, I myself, as quite a big Aberdeen fan, thought it was a done thing.
Nah, no way.
Well, the way he spoke, the match before the game, he didn't rule himself out, and he obviously took time to consider it. I mean, you do not turn up to training on the Thursday if you aren't seriously considering
a wee bit
taking the job.
Yeah, I just think if he was going to Rangers, he would have done it right at the start.
Yeah, but he was never asked.
Doesn't matter. There would have been talks going on behind the scenes. He would have had his
agent.
There
was,
he would have had his agent on to Rangers immediately saying, "I'm interested." Of course he would if he was that.
I don't know. I think something's rocked him about that Bristol City experience.
No, I don't know. I think he's clearly went down and had a look. Once been offered the position, and something spooked him. And I think that's the really
the whole backroom setup.
Well, potentially the accounts. Who knows? Something's scared the shit out of him.
Well, I mean, Andrew, if you were Derek McInnes, would you have taken that job?
In my opinion, I don't think he can go much further with Aberdeen.
If you were Derek McInnes, would you take that job?
Yes.
Okay. If I was Derek McInnes, I'd think long and hard about it, and I probably would take it.
Because if you look at it, if the rumours were true, if Derek McInnes went to Rangers, would have you been happy with Jack Ross?
At Aberdeen?
Yeah.
Well, the rumour was Gordon Strachan. I don't know if Jack Ross would have taken it. I think he's got a lot still to prove at St Mirren. I don't think.
No, he would have took that job.
I think he would have taken it. Oh no, he would have taken the Aberdeen job. But would Aberdeen have offered them that job? I'm not so sure.
I think they would have. So it's an obvious choice.
Well, they would have had someone lined up in the first place.
So who would St Mirren go for?
Well, but the thing is,
Houston. Houston's got a job.
Well, that's probably true, actually. But I was thinking, this week, other clubs of a similar sort of stature. I mean, very much bigger organisations, but clubs of a similar size and name. Dortmund sacked,
Tuchel.
Peter. Was it Tuchel?
Tuchel.
Was it not? Was it? No, they not sacked someone else. Maybe they did sack Tuchel, but replaced him immediately with someone else. West Brom sacked Pulis. They got Pardew in very quickly. West Ham sacked Bilic.
David Moyes in quick.
Got Moyes in very, very quickly.
Coleman got sacked. Big Sam was in.
Everton.
It's...
Meanwhile...
even Falkirk were reasonably quick sacking Houston and getting Paul Hartley.
I think Everton took their time.
Games.
They definitely took their time, Everton.
Not as much time as this.
This is
I know,
ridiculous.
but Rangers, it's just a bit of a...
It's nearly 2 months.
It is nearly 2 months. I cannot think of another example of this sort of organisation anywhere on the planet.
Not even Sunderland, and that's when you know
Not even
there's
Sunderland.
issues.
I mean...
Sunderland you wouldn't touch with a barge pole and they can still get a manager.
I know. But
I don't think they will get one, but...
Well, they have to. They have to.
I mean, the guys in charge now would be keeping it in Muttrell.
There were some funny jokes going about of Rangers approach Rangers Youth Academy to get permission to speak to Graham Murray, and that attitude I think seems to be because getting that knockback from Derek McInnes is a real slap in the face to your organisation.
Yes, and your entire leadership.
Yes, and I think it's not that they aren't a successful club; it's about the kind of prestige you kind of hold. Especially in negotiations, because people are now going to be like, well, McInnes said no, so...
There's a respect factor that comes along with it all.
Absolutely. And, you
don't have the respect anymore.
Well, that, I think, brings us on nicely to the statement, which I think we've all read by now, with, I don't know which Glasgow Uni history of literature student they picked out from the West End of Glasgow to write this. Andrew, perhaps living in that end of town at some point.
Someone with no socks, rolled up chinos.
Blatantly, because they used a very elaborate word, John Brown, didn't they?
Was it we're a big club?
We are the Glasgow Rangers, hello. Wasn't quite, was it concudiment? Concodiment.
Yep.
And a hilarious banner of concodiment ye Reds at the Dundee game, poking fun at this sort of thing.
Salty tears come with those concodiments.
I saw this on Twitter. We had a few good comments on the Sofamanager Instagram page actually as well, and at the time I thought people were misspelling something.
I thought they had misspelled
something.
Yeah,
I know. I saw the tweet on the Sofamanager page as well. I was like, has John been drunk when he's written that? But further along the line, as a school teacher, we're obviously told to promote literacy. And I think this has been fantastic because every Scottish football fan now knows what the word concodiment is. Concodiment.
It was trending in Glasgow.
I think it was trending darn well near everywhere. And it essentially means it was to do with the circumstances or the...
It was to be associated. It was like...
Yeah. So they were talking about the gravitas around the club of Rangers and the success that brings, or whatever garbage. But... oh my goodness, I've never seen a statement like that.
Well, this was a kind of...
ever.
We didn't really want you anyway.
No. It was the angry, girlfriend you spent a few nights with, and the 3-page Facebook message you get back, which the guy never reads. And it was just like...
well, it's like asking someone out, they reply with no, and then it's just a 2-page rant as to like...
I never wanted you, it was never... It was just a total embarrassment. That's hence why the thumbnail this week is of Mean Gers in relation to Mean Girls. Because that was the first thing it reminded me of. It's just a couple of catty girls that have been like...
oh, dies.
With some very posh language on only one word. So they couldn't have attracted any more attention to themselves if they'd wanted to.
Pretty bad.
Really, really bad. And I have to commend, I heard an interview with Stuart Milton,
In Sports Sound.
Dave King's reverse, who conducted himself quite well in the interview, was very honest. Didn't say anything bad against Rangers.
He was very slow in his responses. He was picking his words quite eloquently.
And you have to look, because I think he's probably a more successful businessman than Dave King is as well, isn't he?
Yeah, there's a lot of...
You're a businessman, John. You should know their networks off by heart. Come on.
Oh, Stuart Mill made a lot of money in real estate in Aberdeen.
Aye.
That's his
Well,
bread and
he's still
butter.
got his housing business and stuff, eh?
Dave King in South Africa does some dodgy stuff.
Yes.
Is what I can kind of gather as to what you read. He's worth X amount of money but can't afford the share issue, but he can give the next manager a war chest. He can give him a 3-year deal. He could pay £1 million compensation for...
Is he not wanting out of there, though, at the same time?
Hmm?
Is he not wanting out there? Is he not wanting to kind of sell it on? Or
Who knows? I think
there's a lot of pressure on their back now. I know Rangers fans.
the cynic in me suggests that Mike Ashley, of all people, is selling Newcastle to buy Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's his play. He got rid of the kind of weird and wonderful contract with Sports Direct, and that kind of clears the way for him to then come back in and take 100% ownership and run it the way he wants to run it.
Makes a lot of financial sense. In the same way that Newcastle are quite a big, quite a marketable club, Rangers are as well.
Newcastle are to a certain population. They're very difficult to brand out with sort of the North East England and even in Scotland. Rangers is a global brand for him, and he sees it that way. So he can go to America, he can sell Rangers replica stuff, Middle East, Asia. Newcastle didn't have that because they're not a London club. But there's a kind of attachment that it suits Mike Ashley.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, I think it might suit Rangers because he'll want them in the group stages of the Champions League for the exposure.
Yes.
So he'll pump a lot more money into it than what he would at Newcastle.
Well, it's a good value away getting a team into Europe, provided you don't get beaten by some Luxembourgans in the first round.
Well,
yep. Wow. So,
I mean, Celtic were funded by a tax dodger and Dermot Desmond. So
I thought you were going to talk about a Canadian guy. Oh, they're all doing something to maximise.
Of course they are. If you had that kind of money, you'd be doing exactly the same.
Oh, exactly. But
I would be doing exactly the same.
I think the question is, where do they go from here? Because a lot of Rangers fans are furious. I think the board have not dealt well with these matters. I think the AGM, they kind of dodged a lot of matters.
I thought it was run at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday.
Aye. So these guys do not know what they're doing. It sounds to me like there's kind of too many fingers on the pie.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
I don't think that's an expression. Have I made that up? Too many cooks in the broth.
No, I think the pie... Oh.
We won't get bogged down. But to your point, John, what were you going to say?
There's a little Jack Horner sat in the corner.
But it's a massive embarrassment. And it was... in fact, they only lost that Rangers had that week, because they'd beaten Aberdeen twice and then gave Aberdeen that victory. So we have our wee fun meme of it on the Sofamanager Instagram. So do check that out, give it a follow. It's always worth our time. Who do we think are they actually going to pick for manager now? I know Michael O'Neill's still floating about. Dual Scotland and Rangers manager?
I don't know. I can't see him taking the job. There's no obvious name, and that's really frightening.
Thunderbolts of lightning. What do you think, Andrew?
For the Rangers manager?
No.
Scotland.
Both. Let's save some cash and get them to do one manager, two roles.
A hybrid.
Well, Michael O'Neill for
the Scotland manager.
Yeah, but then for the Rangers manager, I would, if they had the money, they could go for De Boer, because he's still floating about after Crystal Palace, and they did well with.
Who's been sacked recently? Who was sacked at Everton? Oh, Koeman.
Koeman would take it. It's a hell of a step down for him.
Brendan Rodgers did it, and
he took a bit of time out.
That's taken him though.
Well, that's something. But if Frank de Boer took the Rangers job, it gives him the same exposure to Brendan Rodgers. I've said this all along, but
I think someone like Tony Pulis would be brilliant.
Yeah, but he's
he's a. See, come about February time, he will be in so much demand
when everyone's getting relegated.
He's just waiting his time.
He's got all the caps set up on his he's got on his mantelpiece. He's just dusting them for the moment, waiting for the relegation challenge.
He's never been relegated, but Stoke will be probably the next one to sack Mark Hughes.
Imagine Rangers playing Tony Pulis football. Imagine how that's going to go down with fans. What do? He's just going to put four big lanky tall boys in defence and just punt it long.
That would work brilliantly.
Well, you see that,
That
but
would
imagine
work brilliantly.
that they
Second,
turn up
maybe.
at, like, say if they get to the
Rangers
Europa League.
fans do not care about beautiful football. The
but-
last thing
no, but they were
Rangers
saying
have
about-
ever
they were
been
saying
known
about
for
Ross
is
McCrory.
beautiful football.
Apparently Ross McCrory, what a sight to see. Apparently he was outstanding. He was best Rangers player they've ever seen in the midfield.
Yeah, you can calm
He's just
down.
an overhyped youngster.
Oh, aye. Well, like Danny Wilson was going to be the next big thing.
He's a nightmare.
2 goals in 2 though.
Well, right, one tremendous header, and his goal against Ross County was nothing special. And goodness sake, Ross County, you couldn't hold on for another 5 minutes so that Aberdeen could have gone back second. I don't know. Everyone's scratching their heads, but at least we know it's not going to be some foreign random this time.
It has to be
You just said
a knowledge of Scottish football.
Aye, hopefully. I guess we'll fire on to the Scottish Premiership, in which case, a few televised games this weekend. Probably the most exciting one was at Hibs at Easter Road. 2 each.
2 each after being 2-0 down.
2-0 in. Came back quite quickly. I thought Celtic were quite lucky to go 2 up to a couple of deflected goals.
Hibs set up really quite well, especially for the bits I've seen.
I'm surprised Simon Murray doesn't start.
No, I think it made sense to have kind of Stokes kind of floating between the lines and then kind of hope for the best that McGinn kind of join up well. Martin Boyle runs about a lot.
You're not a fan of Martin Boyle, are you?
Nah, not really.
I think him and Barker are quite good because Barker is so rapid. I wasn't that impressed with Barker this game.
I think you're playing a really good defence against Celtic, so it's a real challenge. But I thought the Hibs set up brilliantly. They had 2 really sort of narrow banks that Celtic could hardly break down. There wasn't enough space to get in behind that. Was it his name? Kouassi? No. Oswan Edward,
Oh yeah,
Celtic striker. He didn't get the space to kind of run in behind.
yeah. He wasn't
And
really
he
involved
looked
that much in the
very
game.
ineffective. But you give Cham as much space as you want to kind of drive forward.
They did have their chances. They did break them down. I must admit that Stokes pass for the equaliser was stunning. The way he just kind of threaded it through, and the young boy Ollie Shaw having the composure to finish.
Especially for that kind of game. It's interesting to see.
19 years old. That could be a scary take. Could he be the next Derek Riordan or Gary O'Connor? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Is what you'll be saying.
I'm sure William Hill hopes so.
Well, maybe. But a closely fought contest. I thought the first half was a bit stop-start and the referee kind of lost control a wee bit. There was too many niggly fouls that were kind of...
Choice words for Bobby Madden.
Was it Bobby Madden that was doing
Sure,
it?
it's Bobby Madden.
Was it no John Beaton? Wasn't he Bobby Madden? Because Bobby Madden's a big baldy man.
Maybe John Beaton. I can't remember. They all look the same to me. I do know Bobby Madden was in Belgrade in the Red Star Cologne game on Thursday.
Okay. Well, I thought you were going to say like the derby. I was like,
I've never seen so much pyro in my life.
it's pretty bonkers.
See the sort of shine off his chrome dome head.
Who would want to export our referees? But it seems like the gods won't allow Celtic to be beaten, cleared off the line in the last minute.
Lustig again.
A shot I thought I could have been better at an open goal. If he lifts it either way of any defender, that goes in.
Aye.
And we're having a very different conversation. We're having a party just now, actually.
I'm having a party because I didn't say Hibs would be the first team to beat them. So.
Hibs are looking the closest.
They are, of all the kind of teams.
Do you know what Hibs remind me of? And this is really odd, but a cup team. Like, on their day, I think Hibs can be brilliant. And better than like Aberdeen, better than Motherwell, probably better than Rangers.
They can up their game beyond their kind of usual capability, which is a rare kind of trait to have. And I think it comes from Neil Lennon.
I think Neil Lennon's a brilliant manager.
Aye, he's got the right kind of attitude to really get in about them.
Well, was it 14 years since he got his first start for Celtic or something?
I don't remember.
Today that's what they were celebrating, which is ironic. But no, one thing I was trying to work out before the match for our Sofamanager Instagram updates, I've got these things where I do like the colour of the kits on either side, kind of fade into it. I had no idea what kits they were going to line up with, because for the Cup semi they both turned up in their away kits.
Yeah.
And then at Celtic Park, it was alright because it was just Celtic home, Hibernian away. But Celtic kits this year are white and green, light green, and green and dark green.
Yeah.
I was like,
what do you do?
And they brought out, is it last year's pink kit?
I think it was last year's.
No surprises to that, but that gave me a bit of a headache before the game.
It was actually quite a smart kit, I have to say.
The pink one?
Yeah, I quite liked it.
Fans,
with the black collar. It was good.
I like the the kind of different takes on...
I like the Hibs away kit as well, but it's...
Hibs kits are actually quite smart. I think 45 quid, though, pretty hefty. Not on our Xmas present list, coming soon.
No.
Other televised game, Dundee 0, Aberdeen 1.
Yeah.
Not a lot to watch. Aberdeen got very, 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 very lucky. Scott McKenna getting his first goal for the club. I don't really know how. It was in slow motion past the keeper. And nobody could work out whether he slipped or...
I just think he misread it completely.
Would Scott Bain have done that? Who knows? But Dundee, a bit of pace about their front line there. I thought, that Rory Deakins, some player. This season, some fine. Is there captain Cammy Kerr?
It's either him or O'Hara.
I think Cammy Kerr from fullback quite fast, but O'Hara's a beast of a player as well.
He looks pretty good. Musa looked alright. Elback too, he just looks like a tube.
Aye.
And that's not just because he used to play for
I was about to say that.
Sutton was really hammering him.
Oh, he's so lazy.
He's very individual, I think, was their complete... He's been there for a while now, is that not his third season?
He joined him at the same time as Rory Loy. After.
I think it was the season after because it was when Dunfermline came up.
Aye, they got promoted to the Championship, which would have been
3 years ago? 2
seasons ago. He moved at the same time Kane Hemmings left.
Who's Kane Hemmings these days?
League, he plays in the same team as Conrad Logan of
Conrad Logan?
The Hibernian keeper.
The guy that gifted Falkirk.
No, they weren't in the
Really?
non-league. No, they're like League 2. He plays in the same team.
It was not Oxford.
It's like Mansfield or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they play now.
Oh.
But a lot of poor players here on show as well.
Aye.
Shea Logan has not been up to it this season. I
I
know
know
a
that
lot of
Aberdeen
the
team don't look great.
well, a lot of the stars from last season they've been moaning about. Sinclair as well hasn't really been up to it.
He was dire.
Up to
Well, he
today,
got
they look too good.
two
He
goals on
scored
Sunday.
2 goals today, but
On Sunday.
well, what?
Day off recording.
Oh,
We've shattered the live illusion, listeners. Breaking the fourth wall.
well, still, Scott Sinclair, well, he wasn't good today. Like from what I saw of him, he was dire. The goals, they weren't great.
The goals were very fortunate. A lot of deflections. I think
I think he's done. I think he's lost motivation to play.
doesn't need any motivation. You can still be player of the season in Scotland. Other player, Andy Constine's been getting a lot of abuse from Aberdeen fans recently.
Played out of position though.
I know. He's getting older, and to be at fullback when you're getting older is pretty exposing.
He has played there, for 2 or 3 seasons?
Yeah, I know,
So
but
you expect him to adapt after that amount of time.
he's a bigger guy and not really got the pace. But, you look at someone the age of Whittaker, who seemed to do quite well, for Hibernian. He's really into those quick crosses, which didn't really pan out, truth be told. In terms of Dundee, Sofian Musa, my goodness, what a dire striker he is. He was hailed as the hero at the start of the season.
That'll be the kind of downfall of Dundee this season.
But what has happened to Marcus Haber? He's just not even been mentioned.
Aye, or that is it Randy Walters or Waters?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
He
playing.
looked quite tasty in the Betfred Cup, and he just disappeared.
Beast. And also,
That seems to be a trend, eh? He looked good in the Betfred Cup. He collapses.
the whole team in the case of
Empathic.
Tonga. Also, Urtaneche, a Europa League finalist for Bilbao in the team for Dundee. Are you having a laugh? How on earth did he get there? He couldn't cross it for man or one. He couldn't beat the first man. Grace sure couldn't beat the first. Yeah, generally pretty grim. Alright. On the other hand, Killie absolutely smashing Partick Thistle.
Aye, it's quite an interesting one. That was the first time they had scored 5 goals at home since 2004 or
I think
something.
it's their first win at home under Steve Clark, which I was surprised to hear.
It's the first win at home since about April.
So Malumbu effect.
Well,
What a signing that is, though.
is that's not the same
It is the
Yes,
same
you
Malumbu
was
to
on
West
Malumbu.
Brom.
from West Brom?
Yeah.
Aye.
No way.
Because he was on a list on like one of the magazines.
That
or
is
something.
not
They put
the
up
same
a list
guy,
of the
is
best free agents. I think it was last season they put it up. The list of the best free agents, and Malumbu was on that, like the best in the world, the best of the free agents.
I had it written down as a pun because I thought they were different guys.
No, like it's legitimately Yosef Malumbu.
You are kidding. That's pretty good.
He won a tasty wage as well. Like,
Maybe not tasty.
No, I don't
but
think it
I
was.
don't really think
Well,
anyone wants him.
aye, come on.
No. Well, that's pretty decent then, but it was... Do you know what? In the first half, it was actually pretty even Stevens. Partick Thistle came back, equalised, and just totally capitulated. Like, their defence looks absolutely honking. Niall Keown's not really taking after his father at the moment.
No.
Know how that feels.
Sending one at the back of the net. What have you not lived up to your father's expectations?
No.
Do we need to have a separate conversation?
No, we've got the likes of Peter Grant.
Peter Grant. Okay. Okay. I thought we were having a profound moment.
See, he knew what I meant.
But no, Big Boydie getting the goals.
I hate Chris Boyd.
He's a hypocrite. What? You can't say you like him
I like
because he attacked Aberdeen.
I like his punditry.
It's stupidity.
I prefer him to Michael Stewart.
Go back and listen. It was Wednesday night's Sports Sound podcast.
Right.
Dear God.
Does he make a lot of daft?
He's just an absolute buffoon.
I think he's trying to be Chris Sutton, but he's just not very good at it.
Talk about royal blue tinted glasses.
Oh, really? He did play for them, though.
Horrendous.
I don't know. I think he's alright. He does alright in the Sky coverage with Chris Commons and
Chris Commons is quite good. I can kind of take to him a wee bit more.
It's really awkward with Hayley McQueen, though. It's just like,
yeah, you're kind of all the focus is on her and.
Well, but they get the banter going, and she's like, anyway,
Aye,
much as we do in this podcast.
Aye, moving on.
Aye, but no, Boyd keeps going with his dual duty, and Eamon Brophy was on absolute fire this match. Used to play with Hamilton, didn't he?
Rings a bell. What can I tell you?
So I think, do you think they could make top 6 this season, Kilmarnock?
No.
Well,
You're looking at.
They'll get close.
Your usual 3, Hearts as well.
What do you think, Hearts will?
Yeah, I think Hearts will be fine. Motherwell as well.
Wait and see. Huge fan of what Steve Clark's doing there. I've always said Kilmarnock's a great mix of young and experienced players.
They recruited reasonably well. Got to give Lee McCullough a bit of credit for that. He just couldn't get them in a system.
So he was on that YouTube channel this week, Open Goal Sport, doing his interview. It's actually a really good watch. He's a good crack.
Oh, aye, he's the scariest guy in the world, but...
Well, he didn't come across that way. But what he was saying was, when he was at Motherwell, he was sent out on loan to Cumbernauld Juniors and stuff and, broke his ankle. And he was trying to bring that back to youth at Killie. So he was getting them, to clean the stands after the game and stuff like that. And I was like, fair play, get them to do their apprenticeship.
Good luck.
Because I only ever see the Falkirk play, the Falkirk youth players clear out, the bench.
Well, no, but they've got duties, though. So basically, every player
Not
gets
in the
assigned...
same way that they used to.
Well, no, because a player could be assigned you've got to clean up the boot section, or you've got to clean up the manager's office. It is one player gets assigned a different thing, but I think once you've been there for 3 years, that kind of gets punted down.
I'd have them all cleaning the stand after the game.
First team.
Especially the first team.
It's a free pair of boots because apparently some of them chuck them away every month.
Do they?
So, because that's what I think one of our friends. Yeah, Jordan's got Peter Grant's boots. That's what he wears for.
Ugh, stinky.
I mean, what, £120?
It's not exactly going to be like what was that film with Bow Wow?
Like Mike.
Like Mike. Yeah, you get Peter Grant's boots, you suddenly become him.
Well, not quite. No.
We need to phone up Luca Gasparotto. That's where the talents are.
Oh goodness.
Who else? Hearts got their first win in 6.
Yeah.
The weekend. He was only one short of Ian Cathro's defeat record there.
Was he?
Yeah, which I thought was interesting.
Crowd didn't look all that great.
Well, did they need that new stand? They probably needed the new stand for the facilities, not for the capacity.
No, I think once Levine buggers off, I think you'll see a better Hearts. I think he's not got much longer to go.
They're in a bad spot because that team's in transition and there's no
impetus in that guy. Levine's a dud.
But
his entire demeanour in that club is just a grey cloud.
He was in the paper on Friday saying, if a young manager had had to cope with what I've had to cope with, they would have totally crumbled by now.
I was like, well, hold on.
Cathro did exactly the same job.
You created it, he hired Cathro.
Oh yeah, but I think he was moaning about, the new stadium, the referee scenario, the weird signings.
Nonsense.
He's putting himself in a worse and worse spot, but Lafferty firing them home, quite a good goal. Seems to be the only one that's able to score for them at the moment. And it's looking like, I think the comment was, if they get a good offer for Jamie Walker in January.
He got injured, he went off injured.
Well, he's not played well this season either. Who has played well this season?
For Hearts, not many.
Who's played well in the league at all?
Joe Lewis.
Joe Lewis. I think Milt, you could argue.
Most of the Celtic team, I suppose.
O'Hara's been quite good. Not every week, though. He's turned up in the big games.
I'd say O'Halloran's been alright.
McGinn's been quite good.
McGinn's been quite good. John Jones is quite good for Kelly.
That's quite miserable.
Yeah.
That's a sad tone.
So there's about 6 good players in the league this season. You're lucky if your club has one. Is the gist there. Other kind of scores, obviously Rangers beat Ross County 2-1. Gosh darn Ross County. They were quite unlucky, but Rangers just getting over the line there. Kenny Miller's been struggling for the last few weeks though.
Aye, just catching up with him.
Maybe. And St Johnstone getting their first win in
6 or 7 games.
Stefan Skugel making use of a Hamilton mistake. They were actually quite unlucky to lose that game 1-0, but one mistake and it goes.
Well, that's it. They're of a very kind of even quality at the moment.
Well, Tommy Wright's stock must have dropped, infinitely. Because he was talked about being associated with the Rangers job. We aren't even thinking about that now.
I think Northern Ireland's calling him though.
Maybe that would be a good shout. But
the right time, age-wise, for him.
Hamilton, though, David Templeton got the Player of the Month award.
Aye, and Martin Cannon Manager of the Month. So
I was thinking, was it both of them?
The curse continues.
They had a good month though, Hamilton.
Brilliant results.
I actually thought they'd have more points on the board than they do. Like, they're not completely clear of Partick Thistle.
No, I think they're safe for another season. It's looking like Partick and Dundee for.
They've found some good players though. Templeton's been cracking for them. And Canning was back on we were unlucky today, we played really well. And that was a message I heard a lot last season when they ended up in that relegation playoff. So we'll see how that goes. Championship chat now. Queen of the South, another stunning away victory against Dunfermline.
Pumping Dunfermline.
5-2. Stephen Dobby on the score sheet with another hat-trick again.
They're a funny club, Dunfermline, eh? There's either lots and lots of goals or it's nothing each.
Aye.
There's no 1-0, 2-0.
Well, they've been on a bad run recently. I think no wins in the last 3 or 4 games now.
I'll be waving at them as we come back up to the January.
No, you won't. No, Falkirk will not.
As the promotion juggernaut kicks in.
I did see a lot of the fans that were complaining about the manager. I think, is it Johnston?
Alan Johnston.
Is that the guy that used to manage Killie?
I think we're going to get tied up in knots because there's an Alan Archibald at Partick. And then I think there was another Alan somewhere kicking about.
There was an Alan Johnston at Kilmarnock. I don't know if it's
May
the
have
same
been him.
one.
Probably was.
But a lot of the fans are unhappy with the way he's playing football at the moment. But they're only down in, I think, 5th.
Playoffs is very much possible. Queens look really, really good at the moment. That's the only thing. And Livingston, somehow.
Livingston, their game got postponed against Dumbarton at the weekend.
They're now 2 games
in hand.
Aye. It's just a guaranteed 6 points when you look at the 2 games.
Pretty much. Morton, though, getting beat by Dundee United at home, which is a bit of a...
I think Dundee United are going to...
cruise.
Yeah, that's them now. They're okay.
We laughed at Shab.
They found the system.
Well, we laughed at Shabba Laszlo, like, who picked that name out? Oh. That's quite a good
It was a good pick. He's a good manager.
2 goals from Billy King. Scott McDonald's not really panning out for them.
Well, he panned out well against when he played against Falkirk, but
didn't score, I don't think.
He did one. When I was up there, that was probably I'd probably say that's the best performance anyone's played against us.
There was 2 Australian mascots at that game actually, and I thought, what a day to be at the Falkirk Stadium to see another flipping Australian internationalist of all things. But no, they were describing Gary Harkins on the radio as the white Claude Makalele.
To be fair, he's nothing like Claude Makalele. He was
huge. He was a boss against Falkirk the other week. He's huge, but he's an absolute controller of the game.
Oh yeah, there's always it's like how you get a Sunday league footballer. There's always one fat boy that just magically can play football.
He's not a fat boy.
Yes, he puts his weight on it.
Fat boy. No, he doesn't. What are you talking about?
He is fat.
He's
like hammy.
He is quite chubby.
He's not quite chubby.
He is.
He is no Chris Boyd.
You're trying to... Well, he's a bit just as
belly dancer.
Really funny picture of him celebrating the day, rubbing his belly and stuff like that. But, another news, Brechin put up a very, very valiant fight against St Mirren to lose 2-1.
Good.
So they go into a crunch match against Falkirk next Saturday.
It's a relegation 6-pointer.
But with Falkirk's game being postponed, they're playing up in Inverness in midweek.
Well, if that happens,
this could be a chance for Brechin's first 3 points of the season, I think.
Oh, no doubt, even if we weren't playing in Inverness on Tuesday.
So that'll be very interesting to see. We obviously saw in League One as well, top of the table match-up. Well, not quite, but Wraith Rovers were against Adrionians on the telly on Sunday. So, what was the full-time score there? I know it was 2-1 going into half-time.
I've no idea.
2-1 going into half-time. I must admit, the quality of that looked alright compared to what we see week in.
I'm surprised.
Airdrie scoring some actually quite good goals. It's a great stadium they have.
Oh, it's holds 10,000 people.
Why is that? Who?
They were close to getting promoted round about the time they went into administration.
Right. Craig
So
Stadium.
that was a requirement back in the day.
I don't know why Alba decided to broadcast it on a Sunday night, though.
No, that was kind of daft.
In -7. But these plastic pitches seem to be holding up to the weather all right.
Yeah, well, that's what they're designed for. They're all weather pitches.
So are they a bit better in the cold than grass?
Aye, I think
100%,
it's easier to kind of clear off the snow. And
Right.
Kind of brush it off.
Yeah, and you'll not have the frost underneath into the dirt.
Right.
Which is good for, well, you no need to hope for the grass to grow type. Which is an issue for...
One thing I was thinking when I was watching that is, like, should they, start mixing it up a bit, get some different colours on the field? And
No, that's just ridiculous.
why?
Like, that would just be really annoying.
Why?
Because imagine watching football on a blue pitch.
Well, to be fair though, I was sitting watching Augsburg against Hertha Berlin before we came out for recording, and they, instead of having white lines, they had, like, kind of dug in, so it was like...
Oh, the burned.
It was like burned lines rather than... So when it started snowing, you can see the lines a little bit.
I hate these burned lines. That's what we used to play on at school. It was the old burned...
Terrible ashes.
Aye. Well, I don't know. Mix it up. Because they do it at rugby and stuff. They get, like, the sponsorship on the field and stuff.
Yeah, but football's already corporate enough.
I don't know. I'd like to see some funky patterns that messes with the player's head. It would help at Falkirk. have some like running lines for them. This is the goal. This way.
Just have the tactics that they do on the grass.
This is when they can't remember. You over there is an arrow.
Just draw boxes.
Pass.
Footballers cannot operate without like cones and
No.
I would love to be a cone salesman. They must make so much money in football. Absolutely insane. But speaking of selling and buying things, to our title feature this week.
Yes.
What we would buy or our best tips for Scottish football fans' Christmas.
For that rival fan in your life.
Yes, so I think we'll fade up some background Christmas music, which Paul will find and post and give himself much more work to do. And let's just go back and forth, John, with a few of our ideas here.
Right then. So
Andrew, feel free to chip in. I know you've contributed to this a bit later on. So, see what your what's your number one, John?
well, I mean, this is one for the Jambos, for my Hibs fan.
All right.
They would definitely want to give them a permanent safety certificate.
A permanent safety certificate. Why would that be, John?
All for the new main stand.
So many fire alarms that maybe don't go off before kick-off. Oh dear, that's a disaster. I've got one. It's a Rangers branded dictionary and thesaurus to translate future statements from the board. I think that could be very helpful. Very, very helpful.
Well, the Celtic fans could always give Rangers a PSG abacus.
Oh yes.
Count off how many their goals have
Yes, how
conceded.
many goals conceded. I think Celtic fans are going to be a referee's whistle to blow to give them a penalty at their discretion.
Opportunity.
Their discretion, yes.
Well, another one for Rangers would be a cardboard cutout of Derek McInnes.
Cardboard
cutout. Life size, of course.
In the style of our Mean Girls thumbnail. Something along those lines. I've got a St Johnstone branded sat-nav, complete with traffic avoidance for Ricky Foster and Michael O'Halloran, who missed last week's game due to a traffic incident. That could be quite helpful for them.
A subscription for the Met Office.
The subscription would also be quite good. Oh dear.
Well, talking about travels, Dunfermline could get Falkirk a Michael Portillo British Railways journey round the seaside leagues.
Why the Michael Portillo thing? I think that needs to be
brilliant.
explained.
Some of the stuff on if you go on some of the forums, Michael Portillo memes. Like Choo Choo Relegation Express.
Why? Oh, so they've only picked Michael Portillo because of his classic railway journeys documentary.
Absolutely
Goodness
brilliant.
sake, that's a bit far-fetched. I'm trying to think of another one for me. We've got a Falkirk scarf, not only to warm your neck but to cover your eyes during the game as well.
Nice.
At only $15.99 from the club store.
Well, if Falkirk are receiving, they could be giving Dunfermline some thicker skin.
Oh right. Oh no. Where are you going with this? Oh no.
No, I'm not going to mention the pirate costume.
Right. Okay. Oh, brilliant. All right. Okay. Sofamanager appearing at the SFA tribunal next week.
Ah, that's fine.
4-week ban.
I'm sure they would respond giving Hip like a sign photo from Tom Daly.
Oh dear, oh dear. Another suggestion I have. $3.99 this would cost.
Oof.
It is a Tinder Plus subscription for the Glasgow Rangers so that they won't have to spend the Christmas season without a man. A Ger. That could be good for them, I think. By the way, if anyone has any of their own suggestions, do write in.
By all means, tweet us.
We'd love to read them out next week. What's your comedy suggestions for?
They're probably better than ours, that's for sure.
Not hard to be. Do you have any more, John?
No, that was pretty much it.
No, pretty much it.
As much as I could think of.
Got the Dundee Football Club for only £15. The camouflage scarf, so you can blend in at the bottom of the league table.
Nice.
To be fair to them, they actually do a really cool thing where it's like donations to like SAFA, that army charity.
Mm-hmm.
So their third kit's like that camouflage thing.
Pretty cool.
It is quite cool, and it's for a good cause. So joking aside, it's a very nice thing.
And Aberdeen could have got Dundee a case of 7-Up from last season.
Oh yes, after beating them 7-0. I've got a Dunfermline bib for the dribbler on your family. $3.99. That's one of the cheaper ones on the list. Oh, for the Glasgow Rangers fan, you can actually buy some Celtic cycling gear, so that you can cushion that chafing. £35, and this is actually a thing. You can get Celtic branded cycling gear.
Wow.
I'm sure there are big cyclists in the East End of Glasgow. I don't know what they're cycling from, mind you.
Or if it's their own bike.
Yeah, on their own bike. I'm not their own. So you can represent Celtic. A lot of golf merchandise and things I noticed actually looking about.
No balls though.
Well, no, you can get gloves, everything.
All clubs, no balls.
Aye. Ba-dum-dum. Credit to Hearts actually, who had the best wooden phone case on the market for Christmas.
Nice.
Joking aside,
Is that from the old stand, is it?
Well, just recycling. Are there any serious football gifts you fancy for Christmas, John?
No. I'm done with football.
Well, that's it. I think I've got all my football kits this season.
Like Falkirk were doing a deal. First 99 half-season tickets were for £99. And we're still trying to get people to buy them. So they hadn't shifted 99. Half-season tickets.
Which are supposed to go really, really quickly.
Yes.
Well, that's alright. You could get an ice cream with it during the middle of winter.
Aye.
Aye.
I think half-season tickets are actually quite a good thing. I don't know how good value they are in terms of full-season tickets. I don't think it's that different.
No, they're not too bad. Falkirk's full season was £235, which was expensive. Half season being £100
for what you're currently seeing.
Yeah, it's pretty grim.
I think we're back in like Scottish Cup action and things quite soon, aren't we?
Oh yippee!
Well,
that's 90 minutes of us getting knocked out.
Shh. That's 90 minutes. I'm going to go to Livingston, design it.
Oh, it's Livingston.
Design it out. That's handy. Get some Tony Macaroni before
so
the
they'll
game.
knock us out of 2 cups,
and probably the league as well.
Yep. No, I don't think we'll go down automatically. just when we come up against maybe Wraith Rovers or something.
The long and even more painful way.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll.
Well, they're playoff veterans. They've done it 3 times now, just not in the opposite direction.
I mean, we've just never really done too well when it comes to the finishing.
We just never do well.
Well, no, we do. Well, you can't really say that because we've had like the upsets against like Hibs and then the first game at Kelly, which was just grinded out. But again, we didn't put in the finishing touch because sitting watching Kilmarnock take us apart bit by bit.
Aye, it's grim. Never mind.
Pretty grim. But yeah, I think that brings us to the end of our hourly long chat, unless we have some predictions, do we, John?
Yeah.
No predictions? Anything else we want to chat about this week at all? This is your time. Speak up now.
Is this an open forum?
Open forum. So no, I guess I'll say thank you for joining us, Andrew.
No bother.
Just as he takes a drink of water at the end of the flipping 50 minutes.
Solid
the
time.
one time. Goodness
Solid time.
sake. And thank you for joining us, John.
No worries, I'm going to go and do my Christmas shopping now.
Ah, yes. Next week, we'll have a bit more of a Christmas special episode, shall we?
Even more so. 12 days of Christmas.
12 days of Christmas? Oh dear. John did send me a rhyme on the Facebook chats, which we may or may not see.
Headlords of QC.
But if you do enjoy the podcast, give us a like and a subscribe. It helps us a lot. Thank you very much for listening if you have got this far. And do check out all our social channels on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Mixcloud and YouTube. Like, subscribe and a follow always helps. So thank you very much from me, Paul. And I will say good evening, good afternoon and have a good morning.
Deep breath.